Quiet on the set, everybody. Quiet on the set. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Lead Live. I'm Louis Amestoy. I'm not the host today. We'll introduce that host in a minute. It's a great day, Thursday. I do want to say we have a little bit of breaking news. It's Red Flag Warning Day, which means it's dry and warm and possibly gusty winds. So don't burn anything. Don't play golf today. Don't do anything. You'll set things on fire. All right, here we go. The Lead Live. That's not it. There it is. The Lead Live brought to you by Pint & Plow Brewing Company of Kerrville, Texas. Thank you to Jeremy for letting us set up here. Also, our good friends at Texas Hill Country Advisors, Andrew and Gilbert, with all your financial needs. And K-Pub, safe, reliable, and yours. Peterson Health. I was there last week. I had a colonoscopy. And Abstract Title Company, Kerr County. So many more. Don't forget to subscribe to the Lead. $5.99 a month. And now, your actual host. The once and always powerful, great, scratch golfer, Doyle chairman. Here she is, Delayne Sigerman. No.
And so I don't bother. I just kind of let it do what it's going to do. Thank you for joining us this morning. We have some great guests that are going to talk about what happens in spring. We get to think about planting and plants. And we have two guests with us that are master gardeners, Jackie Connelly and Pam Umstead, who we'll introduce in just a minute, who will tell you what you should and shouldn't do and give you some great tips and talk about what it is to be a master gardener. Before we do, we have some announcements. As you know, we have the original Kerrville Farmers Market tomorrow from 4 to 7 on the grounds of the Shell Hayes House next to the library. You can park in the parking garage for free and just walk over. They have wonderful vendors there, and we're beginning to think we might actually see tomatoes and
stuff.
So don't forget.
Delayne,
it's going to be great weather.
I got an important question for you. So as we progress here, right, with the development of the complex there, is it going to be the Shriner Shell Hayes Mansion at the Butt Holdsworth Memorial Library, Heart of the Hills Heritage Center, and Kerr Regional History? I mean, there's like 17 names in it.
That's a really loaded question. I don't even know the first part of the answer or the second part of that answer.
Right.
I actually haven't had a chance to talk to Katie or Justin Graham to see where they will be during the construction of the improvements to the grounds that will house the Heritage Museum.
The Heart of the Hills
Heritage Museum.
Heritage Center.
It's going to be fabulous.
It's going to be fabulous.
And Joe Herring, who was here recently, has, warehouses full of memorabilia and history that we will all get to enjoy once it's open. So it's going to be great for the Kerrville citizens to see some of the things that took place years ago and even currently.
I think the one thing that's cool about it is you're going to have the new statue from L.D. Brinkman's facility.
Yes,
right.
Cool. Yeah, I can't wait to see that. Did you ever get a tour of that?
The mansion?
It was
no.
Put on the market.
No, I did not.
I was
not.
It had and has great art.
Right.
I got to see it one time and it was wonderful.
Yep.
So another announcement I want to make is if you have not had an opportunity to go to one of the presentations that are being put on by the committee for the public safety complex, in case you have questions, this will be on the May election. It's a bond that they're asking for votes yes or no on. And as usual, I mean, it's worth going to hear the presentation, and they have like 5 or 6 throughout the town next Tuesday at Comanche Trace at 5 o'clock in the Vista Room. It's free to the public. You don't have to live in Comanche Trace to go. That's one opportunity to go and listen to the presentation. The Kerrville Police will be there, the fire chief will be there, and others to answer any questions you have about what is this complex, why do we need it, and how much will it cost, and all of those things that come with something like this complex. If you miss that one at Doyle on April 12th, we will also have the committee come and give us a presentation on it as well.
You know,
So
I'm taking
it's important.
taking the police academy training for the Citizens Police Academy, and this came up yesterday or on Tuesday. What did I go on Tuesday? What day is it today? It's Thursday, right?
Thursday.
Tuesday, and people were asking about, well, why is it this and why is it that? And we tried our best to illustrate it the other day.
Well, it's kind of not something we do all the time.
Yeah.
So it's not like we can go to the manual and say, what did we do when we needed this last time? This is kind of a unique situation, as a lot of times they are.
Right.
And I think it's important for people to be interested.
Yeah.
Have questions. Please bring them to the committee and let them answer your questions before May 7th
Right.
or April 25th, which is when early voting starts, because it's your investment. It belongs to all of us citizens, and we're all going to be a part of paying for it. In one way or the other. And I know that there are folks over 65 whose frozen taxes will not be affected by it, but I personally would like to have a box on my tax bill that says, would you like to make a donation to this cause? And we would check the box yes.
Yeah.
If I could vote for it today, I'd vote yes. But anyway, don't take my word for it. Please go and get educated, because that's the only way to go vote, is to go informed. So.
And let me tell you, I go to that police station every Tuesday night now from my class.
Well, what is this class you're doing?
The Citizens Police Academy.
Are you?
Oh, I'm in the
okay.
class, and
I've seen that with Jonathan Lamb and
yeah, Jack Lamb and those
Jack
guys.
Lamb.
Yeah, it's a party. And let me tell you, the men's bathroom is terrifying.
That's a good description.
There's like one urinal for like 75 cops. It's terrible.
That's a real visual.
I know. Can you imagine?
Never
Oh,
mind.
thank you for that.
So, but this is
I
what
won't be
this
going in the men's
this is
restroom.
the facilities that we have placed our police in.
I know. And I realize it's just kind of happened over the course of 20-something years.
Yeah.
But so that's got to stop.
Yeah.
I mean, we've come to the point where we can't go another year or
Right.
two, even though we're going to have to wait
Yep.
for this to be built. Anyway, it's time. It's important. Please take some advantage of it. We have so many different opportunities to go learn more about it. So I encourage you to do so. Another thing coming up is Doyle is having their first blues festival.
There you are. You got it. Blues Fest.
We have a lot of great artists, and we also have sponsorship opportunities. It will be at Doyle. We're going to have food trucks. It's going to be June 19th from 4 to 8. And we have a great lineup of musicians who are going to come play. And so I strongly encourage you to learn more about it. If you'd like to be part of sponsoring something, we have many levels of opportunities. And it's just going to be a fun event for the Doyle Center and anyone who wants to come listen to some good music. Lastly, but not leastly, I always like to showcase a wine on the show, and since temperatures are warming up, we're getting more into our light wines and not our heavy reds. So I wanted to brag about a vineyard that I particularly like in California called Iron Horse, and it's just out of Hillsburg. I've been a member, 10, 12 years, and mainly because I like their sparkling wine, but they also make a really good Chardonnay. This is their Rude Clone Chardonnay, this is a 2018, well, this is a 2019. But anyway, it's you can find it online. I don't know if you can find it at Specs, but you can find it at Total Wine in San Antonio.
A beautiful pre-pandemic vintage.
Yes. And then we have a 2018 Pinot Noir. Now,
Nice.
This vineyard's northern part of their vineyard is really what produces this really great Pinot Noir, because it's closer to the coast, and you need cooler temperatures in the morning for these to really blossom and be really, really good grapes. And it is. It's a nice wine, and it's a light red. So Pinot Noirs are really great in the summer with a little shrimp on the barbecue or a shrimp dip of some kind. So I
haven't had any breakfast yet. Thanks a lot for making me really hungry at this point.
Well,
this
I
sounds
could
really
also
good.
talk about the fact I'm on recipe number 60. Of
Yeah,
my
you just
book.
did a whole potato thing, and you didn't share them with these. Our poor guests are starving to death
Maybe
now.
I can figure out a way to bring something on the next show. We did a show in my kitchen actually once.
Oh,
That was
fun.
great. We had a
It
great
was.
time.
We need to do that again too. So without further ado, let me just say we have some great ladies here who want to talk about why they're master gardeners, what is a master gardener, and some tips on what you learn when you're a master gardener. So we have Jackie Connelly. She has quite a list of accolades here. She is a Texas master gardener since 2010, and she's on the nationally recognized President's Volunteer Service Award. Which anytime you have, and she has a pin to prove it, which she's wearing, and I love it when people like to showcase what they've been doing. But anyway, she's been very involved in the Master Gardeners here locally. She was the secretary for 2 years, the treasurer for 5 years, volunteer timekeeper since 2013. So welcome, Jackie.
Hello.
And then we have Pam Umstead, who is also a Texas Master Gardener since 2010. She was the Volunteer of the Year in 2017. She's the co-chair of the Glory Community Garden Project since 2013, which I'm very partial to myself, since right down the street is the Doyle Community Center. She is the chair of the UGRA Landscaping Project since 2017, nationally recognized President's Volunteer Service Awards as well. And she has her, well, she does
No,
not
I didn't
have
wear
her
it.
pen. We're going to have to get her fixed up with that on her little name tag.
She has
too.
several.
Oh, really?
Yes, I have several,
So
but
you
I
could do
didn't
like the
wear
Boy Scouts. You could do a whole
I
scarf.
could, but no, thank you.
So, ladies, welcome to the show. And Jackie, would you like to start? Just tell us what you'd like to tell us about Master Gardeners.
Well, master gardeners love plants, and we love digging in the soil.
Yeah.
The first thing you learn at master gardeners, it's not dirt.
Okay.
Because soil, it's a living organism. It's got lots of living organisms in it. Mm-hmm. And I was corrected once by a Texas A&M guy that says, "It's soil, Jackie. Dirt's what's under the bed."
Oh, all right.
So you have to remember
it's
it that
not
way.
Dirt, it's soil.
We moved here from Nevada 15 years ago, and we retired. And from Nevada to Texas, it's completely different growing conditions. We had 4 inches of rain where we came from in Nevada, and very hot, and everything would either dry up or
Burn up.
So we used to have market days down by the courthouse, and we always had a booth there. And I was walking by one time, and this lady handed me an application. She says, "You're welcome to become a Texas Master Gardener." And I went, "Well, what's that?" And so she started explaining that Texas Master Gardeners are affiliated with the Extension Office. It's Texas A&M AgriLife Extension Service, and we were formed way back in the way back.
I think I might have that information here, too.
Well, our chapter was formed in 2002.
The AgriLife was 1914.
Yes.
So that's a long time.
And they created AgriLife because early on in 1900s, people were moving out west, and they were not getting any education on how to grow their plants. And 30% of everybody back then had to grow their plants.
Right.
Because there wasn't any HEBs on the corner.
Right. That's true.
So they were formed, they partnered up with the universities that had a horticultural program, and they trained volunteers to work with their agents answering horticultural questions. So that's what we do.
Well, I had questions when I first moved here, too. I had inherited a garden and moved from Miami where everything grew. And you almost really wished to have moisture go away in Florida, whereas here it was pray for anything. You can get this wet. And I was going to try to grow organic squash because I had a 1,200 square foot garden, and I had grown all this squash. And I thought, and I realized it takes like 7 years for your soil to get rid of any chemicals it might have had, because I didn't know what had been put on it before when we moved here. So I gave that idea up. But I still like thinking I'm not spraying a lot of chemicals on something I'm about to eat, even though you wash them.
Right.
So that was my experience when I went to the AgriLife Extension to learn more about it, and they were very helpful.
Yes, there's a whole wall of information, free flyers that you can pick up on vegetable gardening and tree care and oak wilt and all kinds of stuff.
And it sounds like you'll even, go out. You'll have there's Speakers Bureau to local organizations, maintains a self-guided demonstration garden, which I've been into. And I just find them very hands-on. If you needed more than just a brochure, they'd be happy to accommodate you. So
Yes, people call the office with horticultural questions because they're used to calling extension agents with questions. So the office staff will take the messages, and then Master Gardeners will call them back and research what they're asking us, and then we'll call them back with the answers.
So there you go.
If you have any questions, give the extension office
who doesn't have questions? And I'm sure you hear the question a lot about deer-resistant plants, which in a minute we'll showcase the plants that they've brought in. One of them in particular is supposed to be deer-resistant.
Yeah, right.
The Canyon Lake. Yeah, I know.
Hey, we had deer-resistant plants in our. What is the purple one? Not the purple one, but it's like the one in the back. The one in the back. We had that.
The salvia.
Yeah, like a salvia.
Black and bloom salvia.
And it was beautiful. And it's deer-resistant, except that the deer are jerks, and they laid down on this thing and took a little nap and crushed it because they're really.
They do that.
There's that.
But usually
yes.
it's not in a flower bed. Or
Yeah.
maybe it is in a flower
Yeah.
bed.
It's either it's amazing the deer how rude they are. What's up with that,
We
Delayne?
need to cohabitate.
All
we need to learn to
right.
just get
Sorry.
along. You know, I'm
Sorry.
sorry. It's like bicycle lanes and everything else. You just have to
Yep.
share the road,
Share the deer.
land.
I had
and
10 in my front yard the other day looking at me.
drive slow.
Yes, right.
That's my advice.
Yeah,
Because
that reminds me of a good friend of ours that's also a master gardener who lives in River Hill, and her yard backs. She has a beautiful yard. It backs up to the lake there on the golf course, and there's swans there. And they made the mistake, if you call it a mistake, of starting to feed the swans. And now the swans come and build their nests in her garden,
What a mess.
and she's not happy.
Well, yeah. And those swans, I think they might be expecting a herd. They have not had any baby swans for years.
Right.
And then
They make the nest, but they never, there's
They
no eggs.
don't, but there's some reason. So they had a vet come out and do something, and now they think they might have some on the way.
Oh, I'll have to tell her. She'll be thrilled.
Yeah, I don't know. I just heard that. I was just a rumor that I heard. So, Pam, tell us about what you do and what's your part and role with the Master Gardeners here.
Okay. I joined Master Gardeners. I actually took the course in San Antonio the year before I moved up here. And we had retired. We were living in a coach for 5 years, so I was kind of all over the place.
Wow.
But I am a native Texan, but I learned to garden in Virginia.
Okay.
So very much like your experience, when I got here, all the stuff I had learned, the design concepts follow,
Yeah.
but the plants do not.
Right.
And so I was really excited to have some time, have some retirement time to really get
Learn.
into a lot of these things that I'd not been able to do before. And I particularly like the projects. For example, the Eduscape project that we partnered up with UGRA was just fascinating. We were able to do the design. Now, we don't do an install. We don't plant plants. We don't buy plants. We don't do maintenance. We don't do any of that.
Right.
But we did work on the whole design concept, and that was one of the biggest things that I participated in as far as the size and the scope of what we did. And I was over there just the other day doing a tour, and it's so amazing to be able to show in a 3/4 acre area to show so many different concepts of stormwater retention, as well as the plants, that are there.
I think that's something everyone should go look at. Where is that at? Tell
Definitely.
us where it's at.
UGRA is on Lehman Drive.
Okay.
It's on the curve there on the corner, so you kind of can't miss it.
Right.
Either direction you're going,
Right.
you'll definitely see it.
I was very impressed
Big
with it.
signs.
Yeah.
Well, I think I came to the opening when it was finished, and I was very impressed. And I thought this would be, it's a visual educating tool.
It is.
To someone who's trying to decide, especially new homeowners who just finished construction. I wish we had done that before we finished our landscaping at the home we're in now, because we didn't do enough of native plants. We didn't do enough planting for the right kind of plant and look. And now we're kind of literally paying the price.
Yes.
So, before you do that is better than after. And so if you're in the process, if you're listening and you're in the process of deciding what you want to how you want to landscape, I would say this is a great place to start to learn what's practical, and it'll also help you decide what you can afford, and maybe not have to replace all those plants. One of my stories is when we lived on Wharton Road, and we had a great house there. an existing house, and I didn't know anything. I was going to plant pansies, and so I went and I bought like 3 flats of pansies, put them on the front porch. I think I had planted one and thought, I'm going to finish this in the morning. And there was one little flower left in it the next morning from some visiting deer. And I remember thinking, okay, well, they weren't kidding about this. This is like
That's
dessert
right.
pansies. So
Yeah. Oh, that was a buffet.
yeah, it
You
was.
served them.
And, you know, it's just a learning experience. I never think, when I walked, I thought, well, who took these? Who would come into our yard and take? And it was a deer. So I was reading about all the things that y'all have going on, and I know do you have a registered monarch way station at the AgriLife Extension?
Yes, we do.
Garden. Tell us
Yes.
about that, because Comanche Trace is building a new one in the front of our entrance.
Well,
with
it's
homeowners' money.
there are certain qualifications that you need to meet there. UGRA carries that qualification as well, as does Glory Garden. And there's just a certain amount of plants that you need to have in there that are monarch friendly. And there's also a wildlife designation that you can receive. Same kind of thing, but it's dealing more with just general wildlife than just monarchs. There's a specific list of plants, and you need to have a certain number of them installed
So
to qualify.
will the monarchs flock to it? I mean, just having the plants in it will create this just huge flutter.
Well, as they do their
monarchs.
migration, we're right on the migration track, so they're
Okay.
already coming through here.
Okay.
And they're just looking for these particular plants. So,
Okay.
you know, as they fly through, you know, if you've got a good number of them
milkweed
there,
and-
they will hang there
They
and lay their
will.
eggs.
Okay.
And then they'll hatch. And,
Okay.
you know, last summer I actually got into harvesting the eggs and hatching them because I had some red wasps that had been coming and into my garden and eating the little tiny larvae. And it was making me really mad.
But red wasps have a place somewhere in the
Sure
chain.
they do. Oh yeah, but not in
But
not
not for these-
my
not for
no,
these
not my
larvae.
butterflies. No.
Yeah, and they don't read signs. I've noticed.
They
They
don't.
don't pay attention to.
No,
what
they
red
don't.
wasps are not welcome.
But that was a really fun experience.
That's
But we need to have the plants out there so just to sustain them as they go north and go south.
Good. Well, maybe we'll get lucky. We'll have a real good, successful pattern of a lot of monarchs.
And
coming.
individual homeowners can get that designation as well.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be a public garden.
Okay. When I was in Florida, a friend of mine was raising monarchs for weddings and funerals and all kinds of celebratory, sometimes graduations and things. So I learned a lot about the chrysalis that she would have them in little cups, and we might have 1,000 cups sitting around. So it was pretty cool learning about their the time period it takes to grow and what they like. And I have a lot of milkweed in my yard. I'm other things that they like to are attracted to. So, well, that's great. So I think I'm going to visit that garden again. It's been a while since I've been there. So the Xeriscape. We were talking earlier about what to do at the Doyle Center, since we really do need to refurbish our landscaping. And I was not aware there's a service that the Master Gardeners will do, which is really just to give you some creative ideas. That we would do the installation, we would pay for the plants, but I'm excited to try that. Of course, and we also said we probably need to start with water catchment first. You know, I have that in mind at least first, because we do not have a sprinkler system at Doyle, and there's a lot of people don't, and we kind of depend upon Mother Nature, which is not cooperative at times. So, and those water catchments are great. You'd be surprised how much water you can retain from your roof line.
It's amazing.
You know, Tara Bushnell was on recently, and she really did a good job of explaining all that. It was very impressive. So Doyle's going to do this when we can. We have a gentleman from Master Gardeners who's going to come take a look at our current situation at Doyle and just kind of maybe give us some tips on especially sunlight and shadowing and things that we might need to know about before we buy the plants. So just a little something they also provide. Okay, so you were in your description here, we were talking about your capacity for 1,500 to 1,800 plants in your greenhouse, and this is at the extension,
Extension
correct?
office at Kerr County.
So tell us about your sale that's coming up, because that's kind of like a plant enthusiast garage sale of
It
all
is.
garage sales.
It is.
Which it's not a garage sale, but still, it's a sale.
Well, this is our, we have an annual plant sale, and we call it Blooms and Barrels. Blooms, of course, is for the blooms on the plants, and barrels, we sell 55-gallon rain barrels. And if you're a Kerr County resident, you get a certificate or a receipt, and you can take it into UGRA and get 50% back of your
Okay. And that's
price.
a pretty decent size for most homeowners. I mean, you know, if you're
Yeah.
just looking to keep a
Put
garden.
it under one gutter. And so we have, we start in January. Our team goes into like Peterson Nursery and buys the little tiny plants, and then we bring them back, and we love them to death. We
Not dead.
Oh, wait,
no,
but
we
yeah,
love them to life.
we put them in, we bump them up to another gallon pot or a 2-gallon, depending on what size they're going to grow to. And we put new soil in there and new pots. And then we put them in the greenhouse, and we water them, and we fertilize them until April, until we get it. So this, right now, I believe we have just over 1,700 plants.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I know this is a popular event, and it really was last year, particularly because no one had plants.
Yeah.
So it was a real draw, but it still is a draw, even though it was a new year. So it opens at?
It opens at 9 a.m. The lines form at whenever.
7:30.
early. We ask people we invite people if they'd like to bring their own wagons. We have some wagons there, but when you have like 200 people coming through, we don't have 200 wagons to them.
It's at the Ag Center,
It's
right?
set up at the ag at the in the show ag
Showroom?
show barn
In the back part,
in the
maybe?
back part.
Yeah.
mhm.
Right.
And the tables are spaced out with enough so you can walk through it and bring your wagon. And we have each variety of plants on one table, and we have a plant locator available. We'll be passing out before the event as we walk down the line that's
so you
forming.
know if you're looking for a particular
So you
thing
know
like
what you're looking
Esperanza
for,
or
Where to
whatever.
go?
And
And
you have
this-
Esperanza this year?
Yes.
Oh, good. I love that plant.
And it tells you what table they're on. So
Okay.
if you in the they're A through 20, and so you can run in there and grab your own plant before they're all gone.
Okay. It's usually over probably by 10.
Well, last year
mean,
was phenomenal. We
yeah.
got jammed, man.
Last year was crazy.
Well,
So this year, checkout was a little hard because we had
Yeah.
like 400 people come in all at once, and then we
Yeah.
had 400 people that wanted to check out all at once.
Yeah.
But this year, I think we're prepared for that.
Well, good.
So-
Well, why don't we talk about some of those plants? I don't know if Lewis can
Mhm.
scan
Yeah, hold
over
on.
to the plants. And is Vicky, would one of you like to talk about it? I mean, I have the information here, but y'all are the ones that know most about it. So we have a geranium in front. I recognize that.
And you know about those.
I do. I actually ended up with about 25 of them last year.
Yes, you did.
And I still have probably about 10 left. I don't know, some I gave to friends and some it didn't make it, but I've really nursed them over this winter.
You
And
did good.
I tried. And they're so beautiful. I had a couple that were that vibrant pink. I forgot the name of that she called it, but it's just beautiful. So
A strawberry sizzler.
oh, was that what it was called?
That's probably what it was.
So
yeah.
the geraniums are beautiful, and then we have this. This is our Mexican honeysuckle. It's in here.
Hummers love that one.
So it can tolerate most soils with proper drainage, and may freeze back in the winter, but it's generally root hardy, and you can cut it back, and it springs right back in the spring. So that's the Mexican honeysuckle, and this is the South. Or is that verbena?
That's the verbena. The moss verbena.
And that one, sorry, are we causing you all kind of challenges over there? So that one has a purple flower. It's very pretty. And it's a sprawling kind of shrub, I guess, or plant. It does usually freeze to the ground in the winter, but you can shear it back and it comes back in the spring and it self-seeds. Anyway, it's a beautiful purple flower.
Each plant that you're describing, if you pick that up, if you want to buy it, you will get one of these information sheets to go home with you.
Good.
So-
Good. And so this one here is our pink
Guara.
aura. Is that what you call it? Aura? Okay. And it is, I prefer sandy soil, and it must have good drainage. It's also, you cut back in late spring and you add a thick layer of mulch in winter. And it says feeding is not necessary as they grow in even poor soil. So that would be the thing for
Yeah,
me.
that's a good one for around here.
Yeah, and look at that beautiful pink flower on there. That's beautiful.
That flowers for a long time too. It
Does
has a
it?
very long blooming season.
Okay. And then the one deer-resistant plant is the canyon.
Whoops,
Sorry.
it's okay.
Did you want to say something?
No, I was
Okay.
trying to get it for you.
Oh,
Did you
okay.
smell it?
Well, I could smell it when she brought it in.
That's
It
probably
has
why
a-
it's deer resistant.
It has a
Yeah.
perfume about it that
Yeah.
deer don't like. So
Right.
if you're looking for something that's deer resistant for the most part, you always have to use that disclaimer. It's the Canyon.
Copper Canyon daisy.
Copper Canyon daisy. And it does have a beautiful yellow flower on it that's just gorgeous. And many of these would fill in any gaps in any of your flower beds. And what other plants will you have at the
Well,
sale?
we have native and adaptive plants here that will grow very well here, and most of them are in our demonstration garden.
Okay.
So if you want to do some research before, we have our plant list on our website, and it's hillcountrymastergardeners.org. It's kind of
Okay.
easy to remember, and it's right on the front page. So you'll see you'll come up with the flyer on our event, and then you'll come down to the plant list. And if you really want to do some planning, you can pick up one of these native and landscape plant books.
Oh.
Trina has them over at the
At Plant
Plant
House.
House, and they're at Riverside Nature Center. And you can go into the Kerr County office and pick one up. Or it's also online if you want to, download it onto.
Right.
It's a PDF
It's probably
form.
a good idea to be prepared when you go to the
Oh,
sale,
yeah.
especially.
And look at all the pretty pictures you get. And then over on the side, it tells you all just about everything that's on our information
Okay.
sheet too.
What's your favorite plant?
I like geraniums.
Yeah. I do
Cardinal
too.
red.
Non-native.
It's non-native, but I have a wall around my yard, so I'm
Yeah.
not worried about the deer coming in.
Pam, what's your favorite plant or
Gosh.
favorite plants?
I don't know that I really have a favorite. I particularly like to watch honeysuckle around here, the coral honeysuckle. Mine is already blooming. It's already greening up and blooming, and it will bloom, all the way through the summer.
Wow.
And until we get a frost. Sometimes it'll bloom midwinter if we have a mild spell. The hummingbirds love it. And you can put it just about anywhere.
But does it need a trellis of some
Yes,
a
well, it
wall
needs
or
a trellis
something?
or a wall or something.
Or a gate or
A
something.
tree, a dead
Right.
tree, anything.
Right. I
Seriously,
want one, and
anything.
I don't have one, and I've been noticing, oh gosh, when they're blooming, they're beautiful.
Yeah,
It's just a massive
It's just
orange.
amazing to see it blooming already while, most other things have not even come up yet.
Right.
So, and of course the bluebonnets, the wildflowers, I
Yeah.
just love. And I've got a rocky hill behind my house. And I've just seeded that with a lot of wildflowers. And it's just fun to watch every year. It's a different mix. And it depends on the rain, the sun, the seasons, some years you'll have more of one thing and less of another,
Me
and then
too.
it'll flip around,
Right.
But it's just so beautiful and totally carefree. I mean,
Right.
just completely carefree.
Right. Well, I have a spot where I planted some sunflowers a long time ago, and so they seed. So every year I get this huge, and it gets bigger every year.
Yeah.
The one thing I did have, I didn't get last year was poppy. I used to have a lot of poppies, and I don't know what happened to them.
I noticed that in my wildflower area last year. The year before, I had more poppies than I'd ever had.
Yeah.
And then last year I did not. Now, we'll see what happens this year.
Right.
But with the wildflowers, they depend on the rain in the fall. Not so
Okay.
much the spring, but the fall.
Okay.
And
To
so,
see them through the.
but some of them like more water than others. So we had such a good fall rain the year before and such a big bloom of wildflowers last spring, it may be the poppies. It was a little bit too much water for the poppies. They didn't like that
I'm glad
quite
to hear
so
you
well.
also had the same experience because I thought I must have done something to cause them to go away.
No, but those wildflower seeds will stay in the ground for years.
Okay.
They don't, unlike some other seeds, they don't all have to come up the same year.
Well, that's
And
encouraging.
God made them that way,
how
so
about
that if a bad season came along, you wouldn't
You
completely
might not
lose
lose
it.
them.
Yeah.
Right. Well, that's good to know. So if I was a new gardener, and maybe even new to Texas, maybe new to Kerrville, where would I start? Should I go to the Ag Extension first and load up on some information? Should I contact one of you guys, or what's a recommendation
If
you would
you're
give?
okay, so you're a brand new gardener. One of the things that we do and I don't know how many of us are willing to do it. I love to do it. Is do home visits. I'll go visit somebody one time, and they're either building a house or they just bought a house. Sometimes they just bought a house and they don't even know what that stuff is that's in their yard, which is really kind of fun.
Sometimes we don't either.
We usually can figure it out. We might not know it right on the spot, but that's what we do. And so we'll start out, we'll set up an appointment, start out with this plant book, which, is like the basic that tells you just about everything, and give them some ideas. I was at a place a year or two ago, and they were having a problem. They had just built a house, and like a lot of people around here, they were on a hillside, and they were worried about their gravel driveway was washing, and all this kind of stuff was going on. And so they wanted some suggestions, and I was talking with them about some of the techniques we used at UGRA and the terracing and that sort of thing. But what they hadn't realized, but with different eyes, I could see it right away. Their biggest problem was there was a hill above them, and that's where all the water was coming from. It wasn't just what was landing right there.
Right.
And so I was able to tell them that you got to deal with that hill first, and get that stabilized and redirect that water and put in a nice little dry creek. You can turn it into a landscape feature if you understand where the water's coming from and where you'd like it to go. So it's not only good stormwater retention, good for the plants, good for the earth. It's practical for your home.
Well, we had that problem, and we didn't even know it until after we'd moved into our new home. We had standing water in a certain area that we wanted to use for the rest of the yard. So we actually had someone come in and build a dry creek to direct it, mainly because we didn't want it standing there and killing the grass that we have. But so sometimes you can't expect it until you get in.
That's right.
It's hard to anticipate. But so that's good to know. So you could call you, and you wouldn't mind making a home visit, because you sometimes need to see what they're talking about.
The other thing you can do, like with your standing water problem, is very popular now. Is putting in rain gardens. And there are a limited number of plants, and you can see several rain gardens at UGRA.
Okay.
There are a limited number of plants that can exist in very extreme conditions, either super wet or super dry. So you take this area where it's either a mud puddle or it disappears, and use those particular plants, and you've got a beautiful garden and no maintenance, basically, because they're just geared
That's
to
good
that.
to know.
But there's only a few plants that will tolerate those kind of conditions, so you have to be sure that's what you plant in there.
So let's talk about grass. It requires there's a couple of varieties. And it used to be real popular in the 60s and 70s and 80s. When I grew up, we had a yard we went out and played in, and we had Augustine grass that was just nice and soft and cushy. That was in Houston, which is where I grew up. So the humidity level there is always high. Do you promote grass? Do you have a certain grass you like? Do you not promote grass because of the water that it requires? And do you just try to combine little grass,
What we
little
usually
rock?
recommend is if you want some grass, a smaller amount of grass is fine. This is not Houston.
Right.
And that's what happens here. We have a lot of people that live here from Houston, and they come here and they want their big
grass yard.
And we just don't have the water to support that.
Right.
We simply don't.
No.
And so that was the problem, another one of the problems at UGRA. They couldn't pay the water bill in the summer to keep the grass alive that was there. So what we recommend and what we demonstrated there are 4 different plots, different types of grass that do well here.
Okay.
And they're labeled, so
Okay.
you can see what they are, and you can see what they look like, and you
What's
can
one of
watch them through
or
the
a
seasons.
couple of them. I know we have, I don't remember what it's called, though. The grass that grows good here.
I have no grass at all, except for a little teeny plot.
Well,
now, buffalo
Yeah.
and the buffalo mix is a very good grass if you're not going to walk on it a lot.
Okay.
There are several mixes that have the buffalo in it, and you know it's hard to destroy that unless it has a lot of traffic on it.
Okay. I
So
wish I could remember what we got.
Bermuda grass does well here. I have Bermuda, but they
we
have
don't have Bermuda, but I
rhizome.
wish we did because it does well here. The other one that's opposite of Bermuda.
Zoysia.
Yes, that's it. That's what we have. And it is nice and pretty to look at.
Well, it says it's low water maintenance. It likes full sun or partial sun, and it tolerates some foot traffic.
That's what we have. But I mean, if we don't water it, it's as brown as this.
Yeah.
So the thing about water, I'd say it needs more water, which, like I said, I wish we may take some of that up and do rockscape too, because we have an acre that we're on. We have 16 sprinkler zones.
She has
I'm
an estate.
embarrassed.
She has-
No, I don't. I just have a big yard. We've always lived, even in Florida, on kind of a ranch, a gated ranch. So we've never lived in a community or a subdivision. So when we moved here, we wanted someplace that was spacious.
Right.
So we didn't feel like we were right next door to someone.
right.
Which is why we ended up on this lot, which is a really good deal when we bought it. And we thought, that's great. But I just wish we'd planned better for the landscaping part, because I don't like using a lot of water. It's like throwing something away.
Well, you can reduce that area.
Maybe you should come out and look at it.
Oh,
There you
you'd
go.
like a home visit?
I would
okay.
like a home visit.
And you
But
I'll do a home
you
visit.
make sure that she cooks for you though.
I
first.
can-
Yeah,
Yeah.
now that would be a good deal.
We should have had it out there today.
Yeah, we should have.
We
Yeah.
could have walked around.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I'll definitely get in touch with you.
Yeah, we can video that.
You're gonna have a lot to tell
Yeah.
me, I'm afraid.
One thing that master gardeners do is we have to do volunteer hours to
I was
to
reading about
certify,
that.
to certify each year. So as a certified master gardener, you have to do 25 volunteer hours, and if she spends 2 hours with you, she's got her 2 hours done.
Well,
Yeah.
then I'll help you out. And you can help me out.
Exactly.
This
Now,
is
I love
fascinating.
doing that.
Okay.
I love doing
All right.
that.
Well, I'll give you my address.
It's just like anything, it's just putting fresh eyes on something, and if you know different
now.
techniques.
Don't tell
It's
my
fun.
husband you're coming out yet.
Oh, okay, I won't.
Because he knows what that means. If I have an idea, it means we're probably going to change something, and you know how people like change.
That's good.
My late husband Dave used to laugh when I would walk out the door of our house with a pad of paper in my hand and a pen and start walking around.
Yeah.
He's like, oh no.
Yeah.
Here
Should
we
I
go.
call Plant House now, or wherever you get your plants?
Yeah,
And let them know
yeah.
she's coming. Well, I would love your opinion, and we may or may not do any of it, depending on what my husband feels is. Because it's kind of like a garage. The yard is his thing.
Yeah.
The kitchen is my thing, and so I would have to probably get all that pre-approved. But if I can save him some money in the water department, I bet
There you go. That's a
he-
trade-off.
Well, yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
during
the goal.
During the drought
Here's
in
my
2011,
address. Let me give you my phone number.
Yeah, put your number on there. I'll call you and we'll make an appointment.
I'll say this: I xeriscaped one of my yards previously, and where we had pretty severe water restrictions, and it was a great decision, and really fell in love with Mexican
Thank you,
birds of
Pam.
paradise and lantana, which just turns on when the heat comes on.
Yes.
It just becomes fire. Basically, it's awesome to see. That's what I love seeing the Mexican birds of paradise. That's one of my favorite things to look at. So,
Well,
and you don't have to do anything to them really. Just put them in the ground and water them a bit, and boom,
I
there
know
they go.
that UGRA is really trying to get the word out to conserve water.
Yes.
And I think that's kind of everyone's responsibility to try and do in some way. And I think these 55-gallon water catchment containers are a wonderful way to start. They're, I think when I got mine, I think it was like $30 or something. And I wanted to have someone do some artwork on it too, because then
You
I'd
can do
probably
that.
put more
Yeah.
out there. Of
What are you gonna put on it? Little gnomes
Probably
or something?
Blue bonnets and hummingbirds.
Oh, a Texas flag, maybe
maybe a Texas
hummingbird.
flag,
There
maybe
you
a
go.
bottle of
Right.
wine,
What you'll want to
you
do, though, is be sure and put your base coat as like a Krylon for plastic.
Got
Yeah,
it.
there you
So
go.
Yeah, that's
so it
true.
doesn't chip off.
Okay, I'll remember that.
But if you're interested, our demonstration garden, we have turf grasses out there that you can come out and look at that
Okay.
do well, and we have. It's at the extension office. We've got 14 different plots,
Okay.
and most of the plants, not now, will be. If we're just getting out, through the freezes,
Right.
will be planted with our native and adaptive plants.
Okay.
And this tells you, there's a map on our website and tells you what the plants are, and
Okay.
then we have on the next page is it's 13 pages of what the plants are or have
Okay.
been, and what is the best time to come out and view it, and what section it's in. So if you go to the website and find out what plants you like, and then you can get the map, and then you can go
Okay.
directly to it, and they're all labeled
Okay.
with
I
common
mean, we
name.
have so many newcomers to Texas right now that this is really
Yes.
helpful. They should learn like voting. You should get educated first before you just start buying plants. And a lot of the plant houses do help you out with that too.
Yes.
I mean, if you have a question, they are happy to answer that question.
Yes,
but-
they're very good. The biggest difference, I think, in going to a demonstration garden like this or some of the other projects in town is you can see what the mature plant looks like.
Yeah.
And what it looks like next to other plants.
That's a good
What
point.
looks
Canyon
good
plants.
together, what's
Right.
taller, what's shorter.
Right.
I mean, you can read that this is 2 feet and that's 4 feet, but to actually see the plants together
That's a great point.
makes a big difference.
Right.
And to see the impact of, are you going to put in 1 or 3 or 5 or a dozen or whatever.
So, without naming names, do landscapers in town try to do some of that promotion of what would be best here? I mean, we had someone do it, and he was pretty helpful. But do you find that most of them are as well?
There are some very good landscapers here.
Okay.
And without mentioning names, of
Yeah,
course.
I'm trying not to
I
promote
think
one or
that,
the other,
no,
because there's
but
probably
I think
quite a
the
few.
challenge is a lot of people that, particularly that are new to this area
Mm-hmm.
and may not be so much into gardening or whatever,
Right.
they just say, make it look nice for X number of dollars. Thank you very much.
Right.
And you can kind of have some issues then because the things might not really look like you want.
Right.
I think the better approach is to spend time visiting with them, looking at other people's yards, seeing what you like in other people's yards, and giving them a list of particular plants that you want,
Right.
and addresses that I would like my home to look like this, or please do not make it look like that. Because
I
if
don't
you
garden.
if you don't give them guidance,
Right.
then you kind of can't be unhappy with what they do,
And what you end up with. Right.
Yes, what you end up with. So
right.
They'll also
you
make
need to-
recommendations on what to do to your soil to get things to
Yes.
grow. That's important here because
Absolutely.
we only have 3 or 4 inches of topsoil.
If you look at my car right now, the whole back of it is full of compost. Bags of compost.
Now, did
It
you buy
drives
that?
really
I mean, did you
weird
make
with
it?
the whole back end full of. It's been in there about 3 days. Tomorrow's
Oh.
my day. But you have to continue to amend your soil.
Right.
And
Okay.
things like compost that have all the micronutrients in it is the best thing you can do for it.
I know one of the vendors at the original Kerbal Farmers Market had earthworms.
Yes.
that
yes.
are
Oh,
really
yes.
good, and I have purchased some from her, and I don't know if they're going to be around. The castings or whatever are still there, but we'll figure that out. Because I was thinking about my soil today. Fertilizer. I like to think Mother Nature just helps it along, but do we need to give it a little boost on all of our plants, especially starting out in the spring? Do we need to kind of give it some vitamins?
It's more important to have healthy soil than it is to fertilize.
Okay.
Now, there's nothing wrong with a little dose of fertilizer, especially on new plants. They may need that. But it's like your body. If you keep yourself healthy, you're less likely to get disease.
Right.
You're gonna look better. You're gonna feel better. You're gonna grow better.
Right.
If you just go around taking medicine, to try to get
Right.
rid of something, you might get rid of it, but
That's
you're
a very
not going to
good
be as
analogy.
healthy. It's the same
Soil.
thing.
Did you come up with that? That was a good one.
It's the same
So-
thing.
And
I
then
tell
another
people that
thing-
all the time.
And then another
That's a
thing
great one.
that we tell people once they get their plants first planted is to put mulch on the top of it. Good
Okay.
3
Yes.
or 4 inches of
What
mulch.
kind of mulch do y'all recommend? I mean, there's so many varieties, very
Well,
various
rock
types
can be
of-
called a mulch
Right.
too.
Yes.
right.
We usually I use hardwood.
I do too.
Okay.
It just, a lot of it depends on the look that you want.
Right.
It's some of the color.
But yeah, and that's a preference too.
Okay.
When we built our house, there were some cedars that had to go where the house went, and they shredded that, but they shredded in big, long shreds, And so I said, well, yeah, use it, but don't use it like right here in the courtyard.
Yeah.
Use it
Yeah,
farther back
somewhere else.
because it was not to me, it was not as attractive.
Right.
Now somebody else might prefer that.
Plus,
So-
it does decompose, so you want to
Yes.
keep it decomposes and adds more nutrients, microorganisms back into the soil. So you'll want to get something. I think they even have a rubber mulch. Well, that's no.
I would say that has no benefit.
No
at all, except for
nutrients
a
in
look.
rubber
Not at
mulch.
all.
Well,
Or
we
rock.
ended up going to rock because all the various types of mulch we'd used would either disintegrate into the ground or
That's
be
a good
carried
thing.
away. I know it is a good
That's
thing.
good.
But then you have no mulch. It's like
Well, you
gotta
replace
remulch.
it.
I know.
You replace it.
Well, we have rocks now. We don't have to replace,
Okay.
so that's what we ended up with, and it does the same thing as far as keeping the moisture in. But it isn't a soft look. It's
No.
it's
Right.
kind of a hard.
And it cools the soil too, because those little roots under there, the top gets hot, but the roots like to stay
stay
a little
nice
cool.
and cool, right?
So
Okay, so what else can we talk about? Do you like or prefer, or do you try growing vegetables, fruits, or anything like that, or is it mostly, plants, ornamental type growing?
I love to grow veggies.
Do
I
ya?
was not into veggies until I got involved with Glory Community Garden. I was the flower gardener, and my husband was the veggie gardener. And so through Master Gardeners, I got involved with the Glory Garden Project.
Okay.
And I thought, well, I'd best be learning about veggies because that's what we're going to be
And
growing
they
out
have some
here.
Great plots over there. Or
Yes.
What do you call them? Not plots.
Beds.
Sorry. Well,
So
that
I
Beds.
really had to dive into that,
Right.
to get my own experience. So I do both.
and if you build a garden, vegetable garden, some vegetables only need 4 or 5 inches of soil to grow in, and it's easier to build up because we don't have soil
To
here.
go down,
Uh-huh.
right,
So
right.
we have like 3 or 4 inches of topsoil and then rock.
And that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. In Florida, it's even less. I think you could go down an inch and hit coral rock. So it was really building up. It was
Yeah.
really the way to go. We at Doyle have talked about, I don't think we have a designated bed, but maybe we could appeal to some of the other bed users that when they have produce, we could use the Doyle kitchen for a cooking demonstration. So
We have talked about that. In fact, there's a course that Angela Fiddler has that I had given to Lois, I believe, Lois Shaw, some time ago.
I think I reckon-
Right
I
after
remember
the
that.
kitchen was finished, and that would be a really good nutrition.
we want to do that.
Thing.
So I don't know if it's going to happen this summer, but maybe
That
in
would
the
be-
fall. Either way.
That would be fun.
So
Well,
we'll
then-
work on that.
Can I just plug our master
Sure.
gardening?
Yes, yes,
What
yes.
does it take to be a master gardener? Well, everybody can be a master gardener, but to be a Texas master gardener, you have to go through special training.
Okay.
And we have just finishing up our class. We have it once a year here, and we're just finishing up 8 weeks. Every Tuesday or Thursday, they come for 6 hours, and then they go through. This is our Texas handbook.
Okay.
It's official.
It's beautiful,
And
actually.
it is, and look at
It's not your ordinary binder.
No, great pictures.
no, look at all the pretty pictures in here.
Good.
And each week you take a chapter and then you do a home study guide, and then you go over that chapter the next day. And so
Okay.
with the answers, and then you have to pass an open book test at
I was
the end.
reading that. An open book.
Open book. That's
should-
yeah.
should
That's the
pass.
key. Yeah, you usually get 60 hours of classroom training,
Okay.
and it's not all of it, you just don't sit there and go over the chapters in the book. We have different specialists that come in and do, additional trainings. We have a landscaper that just finished up. He's the retired horticultural extension agent down in Bear County. He comes up and he does a whole class of just landscape plants.
How wonderful.
And then once you've passed the test, and we do ask you to pass the background check. That's a requirement. And then you give us 50 hours of volunteer service back before you can become a master.
Give me an example of some of your an opportunity to do service hours.
Our projects. Okay, to get it to. Once you're a master gardener, you need 25 hours, but to become a master gardener, you need 50 hours. 25 hours of that, 24 hours of that is on our research desk.
Okay.
And so where people are calling in, that's how you get your knowledge of how to research a question. And then we have projects
like the
Glory Garden. We have projects in Kerr County, Gillespie County, Bandera County, and some of the other smaller counties as they have come up.
Okay.
We have, what else do we have? Our demonstration garden is a big project where you can get a lot of your volunteer hours that way.
So your yards must look fantastic.
Well, our yards sometimes get neglected because, we all complain this time of year because our time is being spent in the greenhouses and all this kind of stuff instead of in our
own. Our greenhouse is a big project.
That's why the compost has been in my car for 3 days, 4 days.
Now, will that explode or anything when it gets real hot today?
I'll let you know.
Before it explodes, let me know so I can get some pictures of it so we can put it on the website. Thank you.
Jackie, thank you very much. Anything else you want to say? I know. Let's just plug your sale one more time.
Okay.
Where, when, and all of that good stuff.
Go ahead, Pam.
The sale is going to be Saturday, April 9th. The doors open at 9 o'clock. There will be people most likely lined up in the parking lot prior to 9 o'clock.
Yep.
So that might be a good time to come. And I think we will try to pass out some locator maps, too, in the parking lot.
Oh, good.
It's supposed to go until 1 o'clock, but it may not. Depends on when it sells out.
I haven't seen it go to 1 o'clock since I've been
No.
there.
If you would like to bring your own wagon, you can. We'll have some there for your use, but if you'd like to bring your own, you're welcome to do it.
Okay.
It's tax-free that day, cash or check only. We are not equipped to take credit cards. There is an ATM in the event center.
Okay.
So if they want to do that,
Go get their cash.
that's fine.
Okay, that's exciting.
You know, the old backstory that I heard, I met a Dr. David Gibby at a conference a number of years ago, and he went to work for an extension office in the state of Washington, I think it was. And the extension agent was, most of the day they were out helping people, but they were getting phone calls. And those little pink slips, while you were out, slips, they'd come in and there'd be all these on the desk. And his boss, they would make a few calls, and then it was time to go home, and they'd throw them in the trash can. And he was like, why? He was just out of college. He was a new student. He said, I don't have time to deal with this. So Gibby talks his boss into getting some volunteers to help to do this. And his boss was not very excited about it, but he let him go ahead. And that was the start of the Volunteer Master Gardener program.
How about
Wow, nice.
Every state has a Master Gardener program.
Is there like 250?
There's
read?
250 associations here in Texas.
Okay.
So can you imagine the number of Texas Master Gardeners?
Well, I tell you, y'all do a good service, because if it wasn't for you guys, we'd all have the wrong plants in the wrong time in the wrong place.
And they'd all be dead.
And that's a waste of money and time.
And visit our website for more information.
Yeah, websites are so critical.
And I would like to thank Pint and Plow for the cooperative collaboration we have here. If you notice these lovely water glasses,
Tell us
they're
about
really
that.
beer glasses.
But there's water in them.
There's water in them this morning.
Oh, that's not water.
It
That's
is
vodka.
water. Oh, well, the container said water
Oh,
when I
okay.
got them out.
All right.
Jeremy was kind enough to come to us at Us Glory Garden and offer to do a fundraiser and a special seasonal brew of beer. It's called Apple Glory Brown Ale. And if you haven't tried it, you should before it runs out. He used apples from Love Creek Orchards, and designed this beautiful souvenir goblet.
He is just such a
Isn't that neat?
Yeah.
yeah,
Neat thing.
It's really neat. And he can
And
also put wine in that too.
yes, of course, a whole bottle of wine. And part of the proceeds from the sale of these goblets will go to Glory Community Garden.
Thank you, Jeremy.
All right, everybody.
Thank him for that.
Have a great weekend.
Thank you, guys. We'll see you guys tomorrow. On tomorrow's show, Kamaria Woods and BCFS will be here. Also, Kevin Pillow from Wild Birds Unlimited will be on scene.
Let's watch that.
He's dragging Isaac with him. We're going to talk about the birds of Kerrville, and we'll talk to him tomorrow. So have a great rest of your day.
Bye,
Delayne,
everyone.
see you next week for the boat show.
Yeah, I'm looking forward
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Have a good weekend.